Hey everybody, welcome to Some Training Visions. I'm Scott. I appreciate you all being here. As we just finished some of the Canterbury scene, Retrospective, and we just did Egg on their debut album Egg, and we did a couple songs from 1970. So now we are going to continue on, and we are going to do the Carol Grimes Delivery, also 1970, I believe. Yeah, came out with the album Fool's Meeting in 1970. And that is the Carol Grimes Delivery. Yeah, so this is all on the Canterbury scene family tree. So we're kind of just going through that. If you're just here just for this one, just realize we're getting almost halfway into the retrospective for Canterbury. We've done the David Allen Trio, 1964, The Wildflowers, 1966, Soft Machine, 1968, Caravan, 1969, Uriel and Kevin Ayers, 1970, Gong and Super Sister, and we just did Egg, and now we're going to do 1970, Carol Grimes Delivery. And we will be continuing on, doing 1970. They had about at least six groups from what I'm doing, and we'll go on to Robert Wyatt and Keith Tippett after this. So, anyway, but I appreciate you coming through this. This is a long, at least 20 bands going through this whole, and these are almost all first reactions for me. I'm basically just picking two songs off of their debut album. Gong is pretty much the only group that I've kind of listened to pretty extensively. I've heard a little bit of Soft Machine, different iterations, but as far as these debut albums, I have not listened to any of them. So this is interesting for me to just get a snapshot, at least two songs, of 20 different bands from 1963 to 1975, and just get an overall, a huge introduction myself. So if it's anybody else's first time, or if you've had a lot of experience with these groups, I'd love to hear any of your perspectives or ideas about this. Generally I just talk about some of the players before I actually go and listen to some of the music, just to get an idea of what we're hearing. And then I've actually started writing down some of where multiple players are in different bands through the years to try to get an idea of the groups and the recurring players, so I don't get too confused, because it can be kind of confusing. On this one, I don't know if it's on these particular songs, but the players on this group right now are Phil Miller, guitar, Steve Miller, piano, Pip Pyle on drums, Jack Monk on bass, Lol Coxhill on saxophone, Roy Babington on bass, Carol Grimes on vocals, and then also Richard Sinclair on bass and vocals, and Laurie Allen on drums. So obviously they had a mix of different players, sometimes on different tracks, so I'm not sure if I'll know exactly each track to track who's playing on what. It looks like the bass had 3 different possible bassists, and the drums had 2 different drummers. So what's coming up in the schedule? In the month, I always try to do full albums are going to be a constant thing. Recommendations, I said, I'm always once a month going to turn back, listen to all your recommendations, and put back a video of my top 4 to 5 recommendations, and do reactions and explorations into those songs. And then another part is I'm going to give back to you with my recommendations for stuff. I may have top some undiscovered music that I feel like, everything you guys recommend to me that's undiscovered to me, I'm going to try to give back some undiscovered music back to the audience, in that sense. And then I'll put out, polls for, please, right now, I'm doing a 2 polls for acoustic, top 3 to 5 acoustic blues. Please give me your top 3 to 5 electric blues. And I'm trying to formulate those and compile all those into a couple videos of some of the best acoustic and electric blues of the past 75 years or more, probably 100 years at this point. So those are the things I have coming up. And let's get into Carol Grimes Delivery. That is what we're here for. Continuation of more, always more. So 1970, Carol Grimes Delivery. And we'll go into a little bit more, but we talked about the players, so let's pick a couple songs, and I just do kind of a needle drop of find a couple songs. So this one is the title track called Fool's Meeting. Here we go.
It was a fool's meeting last night. Ooh, it was a fool's meeting last night. But I'm so glad you left me. Now I sit here on my own. But every morning, yeah, when the day begins, oh, every morning, just before the day begins, you know I can't wait till the next time. Oh, baby, how you leave me on. Oh, how you leave me on. You know I want your loving. Oh, so come on, leave me on. It's been a fool's meeting. Oh, I don't care how foolish I am.
All right, hold on there, Phil. Yeah, so that was, let me work my way back. So that was Phil Miller taking his solo. And yeah, so it sounds like, let's just say we got Phil Miller guitar, Steve Miller on piano, and Pip Pyle on drums. I heard the Lal Coxhill on saxophone, and obviously Carol Grimes on vocals. That sounds like, I don't know if it's Jack Monk or Roy Babington on bass. But yeah, that sounds the overall outfit right now. So just to get on the, so the initial, my thinking is sort of just listening to the production. So everything sounds very, it's probably was recorded in a room, everyone playing together. Obviously you don't hear a lot of really, it's not isolated compared to Egg and other groups where you can hear a lot of isolation between the instruments and you can hear what everyone's doing and you can hear them all together. This one sounds like they're all sort of enmeshed. So it's very in the most of the song, it was kind of hard to pick out what the guitar was doing. That was probably the hardest thing to hear, where he was coming in with the rhythm, because it wasn't just a straight rhythm of the piano. Obviously, piano and guitar can be very difficult to sort of put together because they're both sort of maintaining these roles as the rhythm, but they may play very different styles. It can be difficult to play with piano players playing with a guitar just because a lot of times you're kind of stepping on each other a little bit. So I think the guitar was playing with the piano was doing his thing, pretty much covering a lot of space, and the guitar was just coming in more sparse times, sparse hits, just to sort of add a little bit of color. Yeah, everything was kind of enmeshed into one. You can kind of, if you listen real hard, you can hear the piano. I could hear the piano sort of playing this, sort of had like a honky-tonk style, honky-tonk tone to it. Definitely not like but yeah, it's kind of bluesy rock, so it's a little bit different than what I've been experiencing so far with the Canterbury scene. This one's pretty much just straight ahead kind of rhythm and blues rock feel for it, And then as soon as the singer came in, I had like a real instant Janis Joplin, trigger. But I think as she went on, I kind of heard a little bit different style and different tone. So I definitely liked her voice. It sounded good for this style for sure. So yeah, obviously this is a really, stripped down kind of rhythm. It's a blues, progression. It's a well-worn progression. So I'm kind of more just listening to the instruments themselves. But yeah, so far everything I hear, the bass I really liked when he started, when once Carol Grimes went off and I was just the band and you can kind of focus on the instruments. Yeah, I really liked what the bass was doing. Yeah, he had a really nice tone. He had a nice tone to it. And then, yeah, once the guitar came in with a solo, I was like, that's interesting. Yeah, he had a searing tone, very just like in your face, just like red hot guitar tone on there. The distortion, not too distorted, just kind of like sears you like a soldering iron. And not just straight bluesy, like he's more like a little bit more melodic, a little bit more finding his own melodies that he wants to do. So yeah, I felt like he had interesting ideas, and the tone, was interesting. Grimy.
When you're gonna be back again? I want you, I want you, I want you. You said till the next time. When you're coming back again? I'll be a foolish woman, yeah. Oh, anytime you want me to. Yeah, come on, come on.
Okay. So that was called Fool's Meeting. And yeah, that's a title track. I like it a lot. Obviously, yeah, Phil's guitar definitely steals the show a little bit in his tone. Although the rhythm parts where I'd say it doesn't really benefit the song as much because it's really dirty. And when he's hitting those chords, it kind of takes away from the rest of the group just because it kind of covers that area. When you're mixing all this stuff together, sometimes it can, I know sometimes that's the intention, is to just create this sort of chaos, so I get that. But yeah, whether that was the intention or not, I don't know. But it just for me, when he's playing the rhythm, yeah, it's like you can't, all of a sudden it takes over. You can't hear what the piano's doing. You can't hear what the bass is doing. The sax, I feel like, was in there somewhere, but I couldn't hear him. I just could hear him just a tiny bit. So, and then I know Lol Coxhill. I've heard his name before. I think he's going to play in some other groups, and I think he is certainly was very respected. On this one, I don't know, maybe it was earlier in his career, but his tone on this, I don't know, he didn't sound as tight, as professional as I think he is. I don't know, it sounded a little bit more amateurish, honestly. Everything, the drummer and the rhythm section was great. Phil Miller's guitar tone on the solo is very unique, from what I've heard. I don't know, it definitely stood out. It sounded like I'm sure there's other tones out there that are similar in the ballpark, but his definitely stood out in that. But rhythm-wise, I don't know, it kind of went against him a little bit when you tried to take that same tone and then play it as a chord. It can sort of just be a little bit too muddy sounding. And I think they could have been, if this was a little cleaner, maybe it was mixed a little differently, I feel like it would have brought out more strengths than it did. So. But yeah, you can hear the core of it. The Foundation is a great, great sounding band. I'm sure live, they were a lot of fun. So yeah, we'll get into another one, but I don't have that much. There's not that much information I got on this group. So I'm trying to just get a little bit of information, even though these are first reactions. Obviously I'm coming in without very much understanding of the group, but I do try to get just a little bit of their foundation. So obviously with who's playing on it and such. So. But yeah, apparently, so this band, Phil, the guitar, piano, and drums, the guitar, piano, and drums had been playing for around 3 years. Phil Miller, Steve Miller, brothers, I believe, and Pit Pile, since 1967, and delivery began to take shape around October 1969. Carol came to sit in, and Roy came down from Middleborough to London for 6 months to settle and write. So it sounds like, guitar, piano, and drums are for a while. Then Roy Babington and Carol Grimes sort of formulated what was to become the group for this recording. The results give a bluesy rock with slight Canterbury leanings. I don't know what those Canterbury leanings are at this point. It sounds very just blues rocky, but it says it probably reflects the fact that they existed since 1966, but never recorded anything until 1970. I don't know what they're up to that point, what they were sort of going for, what they were doing. But in 1971, Pit Pile left the band to join Gong and was replaced by Laurie Allen, who would later also join Gong, and they disbanded shortly thereafter. As I said before, the musician's Laurie Allen on drums, so she didn't come in until 1971 to replace Pit Pile. And I'm not sure where Jack Monk fits in on this, so not sure. But yeah, the rest of them, so that's one Fool's Meeting, and I think it's got a lot. It's got a lot of interesting stuff. Carol Grimes and Steve Miller, I really like his piano playing on this. Like I said, a better mix of this. I get it, at the time they probably didn't focus too much on it, weren't, it was probably done, to whatever degree it could be done. But compared to what other groups recording and who's recording it and what their intentions are, it can be all over the place. So in this one, I feel like it could have been given a little bit better thought on putting the pieces together, with the piano and the guitar. But everything else sounds great. Yeah, I love Carol Grimes' vocals. So, but yeah, I don't have a lot on them, but let's listen to one more of this album. So this one is called Is It Really the Same? So is this going to be more blues rock? Is this going to be a little different? All right, let's go. Let's do it. yeah, I just want to say, so this one's fun. Yeah, this is really funky. Yeah, definitely more up tempo. So it's got a really good rhythm section. Again, the drummer Pip Pile, I love his. So one thing I noticed in the solo, yeah. So where they are right now, I just want to say. So I'm hearing the piano on this side. I'm hearing the guitar over on this side. I'm hearing the drums and the bass sort of in the center. And then when the sax comes in for the solo, I'm hearing sort of that kind of off center a little bit. And yeah, the saxophone, I like what he's doing. I don't know, his tone sounds a little nasally. And initially it came in kind of like a mosquito. I feel like I needed to swat something away. So, but I'm not digging on it that hard. It's just a little bit of. It's not really even a criticism. It's just the style that he's coming in with. That's what I hear. But I like what he's doing. Yeah, he definitely he fills in with the groove and everything. Great. Yeah, and for critiques, I would just say, I wish the piano was a little bit heavier in the mix. I appreciate that they separate them so that they're not like competing with each other. So I can, but I don't know. The piano to me is just so strong on this feel, and the drums is like right in the center. He's like the drums is right on top of you, so you definitely feel that boom. But the piano, I just feel like he's too far back in the mix. He's just on this side. I feel like you need to have the piano like equal, at least with the bass, and right underneath the drums, at least right underneath it, just kind of hit that power, because he's creating that sort of. So anyway, but I wish it was mixed a little bit stronger for piano centric perhaps. But so far, yeah, the drums feel great. I'm hoping that the piano or the guitar take on this a little bit. So I'm hoping that the piano takes center stage a little bit in the rest of this song. Maybe he gets a solo. So I'm hoping the piano does. I feel like the guitar might do it, and it's going to be great. But I just want to hear more of what the piano is doing, because I feel like he's really the foundations of this song, but he's not really put up in the mix as foundationally in that sense. He should be up a little bit higher. Anyway, love it though. This is really fun. I like this juxtaposed with the first song, so more just straight up blues rock. And now it's a little bit more funky, almost into that kind of a jazz improv here. So let's go back a little bit, finish this one off. I'm sorry, I paused it again. I just want to, yeah, this is cool. I knew the guitar was going to come in, and he just came in just flailing. So I love his tone. He's got cool ideas, but you can tell this is very improv. Like he doesn't have this solo is not like thought out with like the build up and a climax and a denouement and all this stuff. You can tell like he's just jumping from lily pad to lily pad, just in the moment. He's like, I'm doing this idea, but let me jump over here and let me do this over here. They sound very kind of jarring changes and stuff like that. But it's cool because this is his. I think he's going to go on and play with other people, and this is kind of, it feels like a proto group for a lot of the players, perhaps, where they're sort of just grinding out and just sort of trying to get these things out of them, but it hasn't been orchestrated in this sense yet. it hasn't been fully fleshed out, but that's fine, but I like to hear even great guitar players, and they're sort of, you can hear where they're sort of, it's like when you see the playing, when you see somebody acting that's not necessarily good, you don't want to see it. You want to feel like it's just like all around you and just encompassing you. And when you can kind of see behind the curtain a little bit, it's fun to see that sometimes. So that's what I feel when I listen to him on this one. I feel like I'm seeing I can feel like him in the moment of like, what do I do now? Okay, what am I feeling? So I like that. You kind of get to see behind the curtain a little bit. But yeah, it's fun. I like him. His style and his the tone is really interesting. It's really dry and just like it's like a fall leaf. It's just like you step on. It's just like crackly and anyway. What are they gonna do now? Sounds like they're gonna give piano a little bit of love, please. Wow, that one really blossomed into something completely unexpected. Yeah, it was fantastic. All the rhythm, basic overall feel, and then they did go to a couple different places. They had some turnarounds, and they had some different interludes, and had a couple solos in there. So it felt a lot longer than it really was. I think it was only 5 minutes, but it felt like it had a lot going on for just 5 minutes. And when they really dropped out, I think near 3/4 of the way through, you could actually hear the piano, and I was like, I wish he was there like that all the time. And then, yeah, the guitar doing like the main melody, the guitar like harmonizing with the horn has such a weird tone to it. It sounds like almost like a distorted harmonica. So yeah, they obviously didn't. They would have probably fine-tuned that a little bit more to sort of have this more, get the sort of mixture, the mixture right, the levels and the, what they're doing. Get that a little bit more, because it sounded like it's a little bit off center a little bit. But yeah, it's such an interesting, weird tone for a melody. And then, yeah, what was they doing right near the end? Yeah, the bass player was really busy, so he kind of poke his head in, here and there, right here, doing all these runs and doing a lot of different stuff. So a fantastic bass. Everybody played great on this. I think it just, man, if they had a better, different mix or remastered this in some way, this one is just a really tight, tight funk blues. And then at the end, just doing this sort of like kind of avant-garde, kind of like, they definitely had some different climaxes in there, definitely trying to build some tension and release to the different sections. So they kind of went across, did a lot of stuff on this one, even though it feels like a very simplified, just kind of fast blues. It feels like that, but they did a lot of stuff. They had different sections. They're jumping back and forth, the solos, and at the ending, where they just went into a completely different direction. I feel like it just blossomed into this, like, you think you know what we're doing, and actually we're going to blow your mind a little bit here. So, that one was so much fun. I had not heard any of Carol Grimes, and at first, judging from the first title track, I thought, maybe they're just, they're going to be kind of a straight ahead, rhythm and blues rock band, with some great players, but not the best recording quality, perhaps not the best. Didn't get the opportunity to do this in the studio, what maybe other groups did, as far as creating this very iconic sound. But I feel like this song, they just definitely deserved that. They definitely deserve like a remaster, an attempt at sort of remixing and remastering some of this stuff. Because that one was so fun. I'm definitely I'm already looking forward to sort of revisiting it, because I feel like the ending kind of, I felt it, but now I forget. I've already forgotten like the feeling of what were they doing. So not sure, but I'm definitely going to revisit and listen to this one again, and maybe in a different setting, maybe in my car, sort of, so I can kind of hear the surround a little bit different, and maybe I'll have a different sense of the the space, the dynamics of the mixing and the panning and stuff like that, and where everything is placed in the mix. Maybe it will sound a little bit different. But so that is Carol Grimes' Delivery, 1970, on their album Fool's Meeting. And what else can I say about that one? I'm definitely gonna go listen. So I am kind of saving. I'm not listening to any more of the album until I finish this retrospective. So when I get to the last group, and then I will kind of reach out, or when I get near the end, I'll reach out and say, out of all these 20 debut albums, how many should I do a full album listen, just to really get a much more comprehensive. So I'm not going to listen to this one yet. It's going to be a few weeks into that. So, but I'm definitely interested. I'd like to hear more songs, if they have more songs that are as strong as this one. And the first one was good too, but this one really, just as far as the overall things they did, and the tones and stuff, was interesting. So I'm interested to see what else they were going for. But again, the piano on this one, I wish the piano was so much more sort of a centerpiece for the mix. But I get it. Maybe he was playing kind of the same vibe all throughout, so maybe it'd be a little bit too much to hear, throughout the whole 5 minutes. So they kept it back a little bit, but I don't know. But it's really cool. So if you guys heard this, or if you haven't heard it, let me know. Is this a full album listen? And then, just to the players. So we had Phil Miller started with Delivery. Then I'll see him again on Matching Mole and Hatfield in the North. Steve Miller was just with Delivery. Pip Pyle, as I said, went on to play with Gong. And he also went on to play with Con and Hatfield in the North. And I believe that is it for the players. So Phil Miller, Steve Miller, and Pip Pyle, the original players in this group, will go on and play with some more bands in the next upcoming Canterbury Retrospective. So I'll look forward to that. And it's cool to hear them in different contexts and different groups. So it'll be interesting to hear them and do that. I made sure this time that I'm kind of focused on that. I haven't done that in the past in the previous groups. So, but when they come up again, I will mention it. So like Soft Machine and the various iterations of that. Thanks for being here. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. And we'll see you on the next one. And please, vote for the top 3 to 5 acoustic and the top 3 to 5 electric blues tunes that you can think of in the past 100 years. Because I want to compile all those, listen to those, and get those out, later in the next couple weeks. If I can, however long it takes. I'm going to wait until I have a really good collection to do that. So appreciate you guys being here, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.